There was a Ramoses, there was a Thutmoses, and those are Egyptian names. So why would a Hebrew prophet have an Egyptian name? I think I know why. Because the Prince of Egypt movie said, and that's where they got to do it. And don't you find it strange that all of a sudden that you became conscious of Egypt? Now we got Prince of Egypt, Stargate, Fifth Element, Mummy. All of a sudden they're bringing it back with their definite why? Because they're afraid that Malachi might be waking up or touching a center inside of you about Egypt. And they're spending money making lies. They knock the nose off the Sphinx while racing through Egypt on chariots. Roman chariots are that. You know what I'm saying? So as a job, I had to go back through and give it to you all. Now you're sitting there, all you Moroccans and the Ansars and Nubian Islamic Eagles, you are well informed. Can nobody Freemason, 5%, Mason Islam, Israel, Hebrew, Israelite, black Muslim, green Muslim, South Jews, nobody can walk up on you with no silliness. You understand? So now that that's there, now it's time for us to get back to where we started. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in me. Now it's time for us to get back to reality and rebuild the pyramids. You know why? Because we already covered all your schools and it didn't do nothing for us. We're still as poor as we was when we first took our Shahada. We're still as poor as we were when we took that baptized. You dipped me in the water. 10 years later, I'm a Christian, and still as poor as I was when you dipped me in the water. It didn't work for me. Something about a person's culture is supposed to do something for them, to better them, to take a good man and make him a better man. It's supposed to happen like that. People are joining the lodge, they're just as poor when they enter as the apprentice to their pastor, photograph, to the master mason, they're still poor. So it's not working for us. Why? It's not our system. We have not made contact with that inner self you're talking about. But when you look at the pyramids, not the pyramids we have put in to give us a replica, a base, a focus for ourselves, but when you look through books and you see the pyramids, you get a strange feeling. You say, I want to go there, to Egypt. And I say, no, you don't. Because Egypt is not in the hands of Egyptians. It's in the hands of fanatical, crazy Muslims. Excuse me. Who go around blowing up buildings for fun of it. It's in the hands of kooks. And it's not what you think no more. So if you ever want to get near Egypt again, you better build it. You've done it before, you can do it again. You follow, but you got to get focused. And when you get focused is when you look and you see that picture up on that wall and you say, that's me. Or that's my ancestors who descended down to me, my descendants. You hear me? You got a focal point now. You see yourself. You see your nose. You see yourself in glory. You see yourself having done something that nobody can doubt. Why can't they doubt it? Because it's there. They cannot say that you are not an Egyptian. Say, well, my family goes back to Puerto Rico. I'm talking about before the Puerto Rico was created, you was an Egyptian. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm way back before they gave us the names that divided us to make us think we're different so we wouldn't want mind link. They know the power of us linking up. This is frightening. You hear me? There's an identity, a reality. You can open the Egyptian book and you see yourself. You see people look like you and you're ashamed to admit it to your friend because he might say you're tripping. So that person resembles me in that statue. You don't want to say you're open, he has enough sense to say, you know, that statue, but he doesn't. Because niggas don't give credit to nobody. They won't see it. But you see yourself. But you know what that means? That means you're not a Christian. And that's where it becomes frightening because you got Christianity as a means of salvation. They tell you the only way you're going to get to heaven. And you say, well, where the heck is heaven? Up there. Up there where? Up there. Up there where? How far? Don't question. Stop and believe. But with Egyptian, there's nothing to question. The system of heaven and hell, the lifestyle is right there recorded. You can go and read it yourself. You can see it in picture form yourself. The Tammuz spends millions of dollars going around Egypt taking pictures of buildings they took over and over and over again. From this stage to the gate, this area we're in, this 19 acres we're on, that's the whole Egypt of the upper of Cairo. That's all. You understand? If you go down to Sudan, the same amount of space occupied. That's all. That's all. 2 spots. And they have been making movies and they got video after video shooting the exact same thing over and over again. All the programs are constantly reiterating the same stuff. When you put on any video of Egypt, it's the same statues. What is their obsession? The unknown. They are constantly digging to find the answer. They're looking for another Rosetta Stone that will give them an answer to everything and figure out a way to write you out of it and write themselves in. If they can't do it with the truth, they'll make Cleopatra movies. They'll put everybody from, what's her name? Elizabeth Taylor. Now they got a new one out. Why? Why now? What is the purpose of a Cleopatra movie the same year, a mummy movie, within the same year as the Stargate, which is an Egyptian deity hooked up as an extraterrestrial who flies around with permit and they kill, you know. Why? Why so much time? Why so much effort? So much put into this Egypt thing. You know what I'm saying? Busch Garden, Egypt. Disney World, Egypt. What is the obsession? The obsession is detouring you in hopes to find something that says black folks are not the original Egyptians, because we've now broken away from Christianity. We broke away from Islam. We've experienced these things, and we're looking for some more answers. And we're finding that everybody is starting to look toward Egypt for the answer. You hear me? And they see that happening inside us. And they know that maybe the mysteries of Egypt will unlock to us that they can unlock, that they're not spiritually in tune with the people that are there. And then if we get those powers again, with what happened to the Kennedy family and the Carter Party for breaking those seals of Egypt, if we get those formulas again, we'll have a problem. If we start naming them incantations again, them chants, they got a problem. If we start sending curses out, they got a problem. If we learn the tones in our language in ancient Egypt again and start speaking in tone, they got a problem. Remember, they got us all speaking outside of tone. They got us speaking in their languages. One of the last few men that still speaks our language is Barry White. Only one speaking in tone in the bottom of his stomach, like black men are supposed to speak. I'm not lying. They're very conscious to that. Every black group had to have a bass. No white groups had no bass singers. Name one white group that had a bass. The root of us is always a bass, except for the gospel white groups, and that's because they were emulating black gospel. You understand what I'm saying? There's something about the word, the sacred word, the power of the word, and tones. And the right tones put together tore down, according to them, the walls of Jericho. According to them, there's never been a Jericho found. But according to them, well, you know, they got a whole lot of accordance. You know what I'm saying? So now I got to get y'all looking at Egypt. And you got to get that reality of Egypt inside of you, so that there's a link made between you and the Egyptians, because they can feel you calling on them. Because you've been calling on Jesus for 2,000 years and have not got a call. You've left voicemail, you left everything, and you ain't got no response. It's obvious that he's not there to respond to you. Now, obviously, he's there to respond to the slave master, because your ass is over there in slavery. And they went over there as Christians. Slave masters were Christians. Weren't they? And they were also Muslims. So that was working for them. It didn't do us no good. So the God that led them into America and that led you into slavery is the God of Christianity. Yet you still worshiping the slave master's God and feel good about it. Feel guilty if you don't worship the God that put you in slavery. And it hung, castrated, burnt, tarred and feathered your grandfather. While the KKK was on your yard, they had a cross. They didn't have a person out there, you know. They didn't have no hook. They were burning a Christian cross. And before they marched out to the house, they opened the book of Romans and read from it. This is what the KKK do. They consider themselves a Christian organization. And they've been existing, terrorizing blacks for centuries with Christian God. And that God did not liberate your ancestors from their clutches. Many a black men all over Georgia got hung, Mississippi, Alabama. They were beating up preachers, spraying preachers in the 60s and putting dogs on black ministers. I was watching it, I was right there. They were marching in peace. You know what I remember? And they would hose them down, put dogs on ministers, and tell them, your God is not my God. As they told Dr. Martin Luther King, your God is not my God, right in Mississippi. And made it all right. For them to do the things they do to people in the name of their God. But now when I tell you, all right, we acknowledge that that's your God and not ours, take your God, now I'm a heathen. Like Al Sharpton said, you don't want us in your neighborhoods and you don't want us to set up our own neighborhood. Why don't you want us to set up our own neighborhood? Because a prototype will be set up. An example will be made. And all crap about we love ghettos.